Welcome to Breakthrough Success. I'm your host, Mark Gabberti, the content marketing expert, bringing you 5 new episodes every week where I and top-level guests teach you how to take your business to the next level and achieve your breakthrough. Hello, Breakthrough Success Sisters. I just wanted you all to know before the episode actually starts, I've been working a little bit behind the scenes to give you something really special. So a while ago, I wrote my book, Content Marketing Secrets, which helps people create, promote, and optimize their content for growth and revenue. And I just put the finishing touches together to offer that for free to anyone who is interested. So if you want your free copy of Content Marketing Secrets, all you have to do is head over to markgabberti.com/book. Now, let's jump right into the episode. It takes a lot of time to write a book and get it published, but the rewards are incredible. You become an authority in your niche. You have the ability to drive book sales, make passive income, but you can also use your books to drive sales to other parts of your business, embracing the authorpreneur mindset instead of just being an author. So we're going to talk about how exactly we do that in today's episode of Breakthrough Success. So the guest for this episode, she has written several books on Amazon. She helps people attract dream clients on autopilot. She actually has several book series that help people from blogging to social media to their own books. So she has a wide variety of books on Amazon. She's going to give us a lot of great insights in this episode. So today's guest for episode 262 of the Breakthrough Success Podcast is none other than Gundi Gabrielle. Gundi, it is such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks so much, Mark. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you on the show, and like writing books, there's just so much ways to make money just in addition to book sales. So I'm really looking forward to diving into that. But before we do, I'd like to get some background. So can you give us a brief background for why you decided to write books and how important they have been for your business?
Well, I come actually from a totally different background. I was a classical musician for most of my life, a conductor, an organist, and toured the world and all of that fun stuff. And at some point, wanted a change in my life and came back to California and was looking into basically making money online, starting a business there. And I also wanted to become a digital nomad so I could travel and work from wherever I wanted to. And I started a blog, but very quickly got into self-publishing, which was a stroke of luck, as it turned out, because I love writing, and it's a good way for me to connect with my audience. And I learned from the start from some really talented people how to market on Amazon successfully so that your books keep selling, not just during launch week, but long term, so you have a continuous stream of new readers. And then I learned a lot more about marketing, SEO, social media, all that fun stuff, and really built a big portfolio of 10 number one bestsellers. Now my newest book came out a few months ago, Influencer Fast Track. That's doing pretty well. And also funneled that traffic into other forms of business. Initially also clients and the students. I'm mostly focused on passive income, so I'm not actively seeking clients, but it still occasionally happens. Affiliate marketing, other products, courses, and basically, as of now, a 6-figure, soon going on 7-figure income, mostly passive, with books, the most important traffic source. So it's been a real stroke of luck and has made a tremendous difference in my business and life.
And one of the things that I also want to ask you, because I know how impactful books can be, and I know they've had a big impact on you as well, but one of the things that I've seen you do very interestingly is have that book series that you mentioned, that I mentioned before. And I'm wondering, how has writing a nonfiction book series impacted sales?
It makes all the difference in the world if you do it as a series. And that's what I tell my students too. Don't write that one big book. Write a series of shorter books around the same topic, because they all help sell each other. They all show underneath each other. If you have one book, then the whole series shows underneath the thumbnails. It's free little mini ads from Amazon. And I get this all the time from readers, even in reviews, they say it. They usually like one book, that's the introduction, and then they buy the whole series because it's branded in a certain way. It's the sassy way when you have no clue. So it's a certain type of audience. They're pink, they're easy to recognize. And with this series, you really have a chance to build sort of a following. I don't want to say a fan club, but something like that are quite passionate about your book series and love to hear more, versus just one book, which is much more difficult to keep selling. And it's also more difficult to keep people focused because they want to hear more and there's so much going on. So with a series of shorter books, this is much easier to do.
And one of the things I also want to point out is I looked at your series, and you don't show your author name. You just say it's a Sassy Zen Girl guide, and that's the series that you display on your book, but not the author name. I'm wondering if you could just talk a little bit about that decision and why that approach.
It is actually on most of the covers. Maybe it's not. I forgot it on some. It's possible. It's certainly on the book page. It always says Gundi Gabrielle as the author name. Sassy Zen Girl is my brand, also the website. And so that's where this pink, sassy, and how that all comes in, the sassy way and so forth. But it's simply the brand name and the publishing company, if you will. But my name is very much on there. People know who I am. I'm not hiding my name. It's just, I'm sort of AKA Sassy Zen Girl, basically.
Okay. And with the book, I mean, like when people think about driving income from their books, they usually think about getting a bunch of book sales. But like you can also get training course sales. You can like grow your email list, things like that. So can you talk about some of the approaches that you are taking to use your books to grow your audience and drive more sales?
Yes, I would invite people to look at books more as the beginning of a sales funnel. Rather than the end. So you want to think of what do you really want the big part of your business to be. And for some people, that's consulting or coaching. It can be courses, it can be podcasting, speaking, all kinds of things. But you should be clear, what is your end result or what do you want to go? And then you design your book series with that in mind. So it's a whole different approach. And the benefits you obviously have, the first one is, of course, list building automatic. That I had from the very start when I was brand new. I automatically got new subscribers every day simply by putting a lead magnet in each book that is related to the topic that I'm writing about, just like you would on a website or a blog. Very similar principle. People like it, checklists and stuff like that. That helps people. So very easy to get people to sign up. The other thing I noticed is it's also automatic social media followers, because if people like your book and they like your style, they will also want to follow you on their favorite social media platform. So that's another automatic thing. And you notice I'm using that word automatic a lot. In the same line, if you want clients and coaching and consulting clients, it's ideal for a number of reasons. First of all, you already develop a relationship with the reader that is completely non-salesy. They choose to read your book, and if they like your book, they feel like they already know you. So by the time they're through, they're basically hot leads, and they want to work with you, especially if you share success stories and case studies and all of that. So if you write it in a very friendly, conversational style, there's nothing better to introduce people to your services than that. Totally different from ads, which are cold and you first have to convince people. In addition to that, you have the prestige of a best-selling author, which is not that hard to do, or even #1 best-selling author, and the authority, which is priceless. And people really respect that. They treat you differently, and they actually expect to pay premium rates because you're a best-selling author. So there's that. And again, you don't have to, after that, pitch your services anymore. If you write the book well, if it's really amazing information and you have great stories to share, they will be dying to work with you. You don't have to do much selling after that anymore. In fact, I still constantly get requests. I just don't like doing it much anymore because I like a free schedule. And then you can also funnel it into more high-ticket items. You could do high-ticket masterminds or more high-ticket consulting. You can put it into premium courses where, for example, you have an evergreen webinar. So your freebie in the book is actually an invitation to a free training, and you give a lot of great stuff in the training, and at the end you introduce a course. Classic thing. If you produce softwares, then it's a natural thing to use the software in the course of the book, or membership platform, same thing. So it can be the opening to pretty much anything else you want to build it in. And the other cool thing about Amazon in particular is that you are then leveraging the marketing power of the biggest store in the world. And that's something people don't always realize. So there's so much more. If you know how to sell books on Amazon and keep them selling, like I also make several $1,000s a month just from book royalties, completely on autopilot, in addition to all the other things that come from the books, including affiliate sales. You can mention affiliate products occasionally in the book. It is absolutely phenomenal if you do it right. The key, of course, is you know how the algorithm works. You keep books selling, and you have at least 20 sales or whatever per day with most of your books. And again, have a series which keeps reinvigorating your whole book portfolio. Much easier than to just have one or two books.
And I really like the series, and that is something I'm probably going to be doing with future books. And one of the things that I am wondering, though, because you mentioned the ability to be that best-selling author, number one, very quickly. I'm wondering how exactly can we do it? Because some people think it's a really hard process. So I'm wondering if you could clear the haze for...
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's important to understand when we say number one, it means the subcategories in Amazon. So it doesn't mean the entire store. It doesn't even mean the entire, let's say, business category. Entire store, even famous authors rarely ever get there. But just like the New York Times even has subcategories, Amazon has hundreds, if not thousands. I don't actually know the exact number, but it's a lot of them. And so you need a powerful launch, and there's a number of elements in there. First of all, obviously, you need a quality book. That never goes away. Secondly, you need a great sales copy title, catchy, but also good copy. And you need a great cover, really professional looking cover, because that's really what sells the book and keeps selling it. And then it's typical SEO, Amazon SEO in this case, kind of like you would optimize your blog post. You would do the same with the book in the title, in the subtitle. On your book page, you need to have the relevant keywords. You need to research those keywords. There's a tool called KDP Rocket by my friend Dave Chesson from Kindlepreneur. It's amazing. So you pick the right keywords, put that in the title, put it in the book description, so people can find you in searches, which is the other way to do it. And then during launch week, of course, you need a lot of reviews to launch, and then to get those first sales, even if you don't know anyone. That's the other amazing thing about publishing. You can do this as a complete beginner. There are a number of promo services that, for the most part, do very well. It depends a little bit on the topic. So they're basically email lists. These people have like tens of thousands, some have hundreds of thousands. And basically you pay for a spot in their daily email that they send out to their readers, and it's always a discount. It's usually 99 cents, some are free. But that's what you do, and you do a couple of those for, I would usually do a week at least, to really, first of all, get a lot of sales, get that bestseller ranking, and secondly, also to trigger the algorithm of Amazon. That's really important. So not just one day, you need really, I would say at least 5 to 7 days of lots of sales to really have Amazon take notice, because the amazing thing that can happen then is that Amazon picks up on that the book is very popular, and starts promoting it for you. And that's when you really start to win, when Amazon keeps showing your book, when people put in that keyword that you optimize for, and your book shows up at the top, or at least in the top 3. That's how you keep having sales long term. And so there's a lot of different elements, as I was just describing. It's not rocket science. It's just a sequence of steps that need to happen. And
I really like how you mentioned about 5 days or 7 days of getting a lot of sales, and Amazon goes to work. I mean, Amazon is a search engine, so if you're able to optimize, if you're able to send them the signals that they like, they'll eventually promote their book to their audience, because that means more revenue for them. So I really do like that approach. But one of the things that I want to ask you also is that some people, they have a book in them, or they've written a book and it's not really making that much revenue. So what do you believe holds most people back from being able to reach their full potential as being an author who can be full-time?
You mean they already have the book out and it's not selling well?
Yes, and also for the aspirational author, but I'm more focused on the author who already has the book out.
Yeah, let's focus on them first. since it's two different things. Well, it's basically optimizing on the points that I just described. What I see a lot of publishing students is, for example, they don't do keyword research. They don't even know what that is. So that's a big problem. People cannot find you long term. Think about it. When you go to Amazon, how do you find a book? You put a search phrase in, right? And then books come up. And then you pick one of them. So the key for you is to be in those top positions. So that's for starters. So that means SEO. So you need to learn how to have a keyword in the title, ideally in the front of the title, have some more different keywords in the subtitle. Even the series name is another spot in SEO real estate. Basically, have a really well-written book description, long enough. Really fill out that space, have keywords there too, and also a good sales copy. The other thing that so many self-published books are lacking, and I think that's one of the biggest problems, is the cover quality. People go to Fiverr or they do it themselves, and I like Fiverr a lot for a lot of things, but not for book covers. It's just not the right quality, and that's not arrogance. It's just you need a professional for that, and that costs money, but it will be worth it. It makes all the difference, and there's plenty of authors who changed their cover and then had sensational success just by changing the cover to something appealing and professional. So what I would recommend is look at the bestseller list, and I mean the top 100 of your category, like business or health or whatever that is. Look to the top 100 and get a sense, really look, why are certain covers appealing to you? Why do you take notice? Because it's very different from print. It's because you're dealing with this tiny thumbnail. So it needs to look professional, but it also needs to stand out enough so that it's not about strong colors, big letters, and things like that. It needs to be legible. That's the other one. And then I think most people don't really have a strategy in place to launch, as I partly just described. And the other part, I think, is also the initial research, to really go to Amazon, look through the bestseller list, and start with something that's already trending. Don't reinvent the wheel. If you don't find books on a topic you want to write about, I would be concerned. If you're more experienced, you can probably make it work, especially if you have an outside audience. But if you're relying on Amazon, you want to go with something that is already doing well, that you see a lot of other books out, because if you do the steps I just described, you can usually outrank them, because most of them don't. Even traditional publishers don't really know how to publish on Kindle. They're focused on print, not on Kindle. So those are the elements, I would say. Research your topic, really niche down on a very specific target. Don't be too general. And have a great cover, have a great title, optimize your book page, including your title, and have a power launch. Get reviewers ready. Another thing that's powerful to get things going, people are always struggling to get reviewers. There's a very simple way to do that, frankly. Find Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups of your target audience, not your peers, your target audience, the people that you hope will read your book, not your friends, not your family. They just do you a favor. You want the people who actually want to read your book. Go in there at least 3 months before you publish. Build relationships. Don't pitch. Don't be annoying. Be helpful. You know, people start noticing you because you're smart, you know stuff, you have great advice, and you're selfless. You just help people. And then when the time comes, you ask, the magic word I always find is test readers. Don't ask for launch team. I find that a little disrespectful, almost, the cheering crowd. But ask for test readers, because people love being test readers, and they love to give feedback, and they also love to support you in something awesome like that. But do it with your target audience, because the other cool thing is you get feedback on topics. You get feedback on your cover and from the people who are actually going to buy your book. You might even be able to narrow down on a topic and find out, is this really what interests them? In other words, don't just assume you know, but really ask people in those your target audience, or in forums, or in blog comments, that sort of thing. So it's all these elements together. There's no magic answer, but it's usually a combination of all of them.
Gundi, thank you for sharing those great insights. And again, there's so many factors, like the book cover, make sure you hire a professional to get the book cover in, and also reaching out to people, because you need people behind you to expand your reach, to expand the potential for your book. So a lot of great insights in there. But one of the things I know we all face are certain challenges along the journey to becoming a successful author. So I'm wondering if you could share with us one big challenge that you faced on your journey, and a powerful lesson you learned during that challenge.
I had it remarkably easy, I will say. I'm sorry to say that, but I actually did. I struggled with other things online that I had to learn first. But because I learned from someone who was very successful at this, I was able to avoid a lot of the trappings. I will say, though, I think what would help people is I literally followed it step by step to the letter. I didn't just cherry pick and pick some of the things she mentioned and not others. I really just blindly followed what she said. And 4 weeks later, literally from start to publishing, I had my first #1 bestseller. And then I did it again. And then I read every book I could find, everything on publishing. And then over time, you find your own ways on what you can do and improve with that. So I've had certainly learning experiences in other areas of online marketing, but publishing was for the most part a pretty smooth ride. Also a travel series, which I'm also now expanding. And always every time you learn something new. The one thing actually I did learn with the second book in this series, it's the only one that initially got like 2, well, not negative, but 3-star reviews that were more critical. And both were commenting on the same thing, that some things could be more in depth. And I took notice of that and corrected that. So from then on, I never got those. So really, I guess the lesson there is really focus on high quality. Don't just rush through and write book after book after book. I write a lot of books very quickly, but I always focus on high quality because Amazon reviewers are brutal and they will let you know if it's not. And that's another key to keep selling, because if people are unhappy and give you negative reviews, it just doesn't work. Plus, they keep telling their friends if they like your books. And I think one of my newest reviewers was even saying, yeah, my friends are reading it too, and we have the whole series. So they keep recommending it to other people. And that loyal following doesn't happen unless you really, really help people. That should be your #1 focus, and provide awesome quality. And the rest follows on its own.
And I thank you for taking the time to share that challenge with us. And challenges are all just a part of the journey, but we really have to learn how to embrace them and push forward in order to achieve the success we want to achieve. I mean, like high quality content, it can feel like a challenge to continue to consistently put it out. Like you want to get your book done, you want to make revenue, but if you spend the initial time to make your content more special, something that is going to provide a lot more value, then that's something that will have a bigger impact, and readers will enjoy your work better, and they enjoy your book. That leads to more in-book sales as well. And speaking of books, I'm wondering if you could share with us 3 books that you believe will have a positive impact on us.
In business or?
In general, but some business, some just in general, a positive impact.
3 books. Okay. Super positive impact on me had the initial book, Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk. I think probably everybody who read it, that was just totally amazing. Another book that really helped me a lot, also in terms of branding, is by Evan Carmichael, Your One Word. That is very powerful. And outside of business, the books that have impacted me a lot is the book by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now and A New Earth. But that's outside of business, since you said it was more general.
Gundi, thank you for sharing those great book recommendations. We will throw all of those in the show notes, marketberry.com/E262. And if you guys want a book that will help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, you can grab your copy of Podcast Domination over at marketberry.com/PD. And before we wrap up this episode, Gundi, I've asked you several questions throughout our time together, but what do you believe is one question that we need to be asking ourselves more often?
How can I master one channel of traffic before anything else? You don't need a zillion social media channels or this. Start with one. What is that one? And if you're not making sales, if you're not making money, what is that channel? What can you improve to become an absolute master, crushing it on that one channel? In my case, it was publishing initially, but whatever that is for you, find one, really master that, and then move on.
Gundi, thank you for sharing with us that great question and all of the great insights that you shared with us throughout this episode. If you guys want to learn more about Gundi, head over to dreamclientsonAutopilot.com. There is some really awesome training, free webinar there. Actually, the more specific link, dreamclientsonAutopilot.com/go for anyone who is interested. But Gundi,
yeah, actually, the training is at dreamclientsonautopilot.com. That's the free webinar. And my website about the whole brand is SassyZenGirl.com. Just so know that quickly. Sorry.
Thank you for cutting me off, because we'll just throw all of those in the show notes. And thank you again for being on the show. It was a pleasure to have you on Breakthrough Success.
Thank you for having me.
How does over 100 retweets per day sound to you? My free ebook, 27 Ways to Get More Retweets on Twitter, has you covered. I use the methods within this ebook to get over 10,000 retweets every single quarter. To learn